Hello again. So today's reading is The Storm Theory, and it is said to be inspired by Japanese monk Kukai. Chaos often comes before clarity. When life shakes you, it can feel cruel and unfair. Everything you trusted may seem to fall apart at once. Plans, relationships, certainty, even your sense of self. But storms are not sent to destroy you. They arrive to rebuild you. Every storm strips away what was weak, false, or no longer aligned with who you are becoming. It forces you to let go of illusions, comforts, and attachments that were quietly holding you back. What remains after the storm is not less, it is truer. Storms don't come to stay, they come to pass. They wash away what no longer serves you. They clear the path you couldn't see before. They teach you resilience, patience, and trust in yourself. In the middle of the storm, all you can do is endure. After the storm, you understand. You see what truly matters. You see who really matters. You see how strong you actually are. So, when life feels chaotic, remember this. Clarity is forming beneath the noise. Growth is happening beneath the struggle. Hold on, breathe, stay grounded. Every storm leaves the ground cleaner, the air clearer, and the roots deeper. And so do you. Thank you.
Hello, everybody again. So I think I'm doing the inspired talk, and I feel Spirit has directed me to talk about storms we go through and building bridges. As some of you know, I don't know if all of you know, probably not, but I've been kind of semi-retired now for a bit of time and getting more and more into that. So I have new available time. And with my new available time, what I decided to do was something I've been wanting to do for at least 2 decades, but writing. And for whatever reason, which I can't explain to anyone or myself, my preferred style of writing, what I'm interested in is playwriting. So for the past year almost, I have signed up and been participating in writing classes, and not only playwriting courses, but courses to support how we write plays. For example, I am currently enrolled in what's called Character Two. Character Two is a class about how characters, how they come to life in our stories. And I've been given some information about that, and it occurred to me that how I try to bring my characters to life in my plays is most likely very similar to how we conduct ourselves as characters, as personalities of who we are. So let me just give you a few pieces of information that I was given, and then we'll go from there. One of the things that I've been made to understand is that when we think of people, the ultimate goal the ultimate goal of each and every one of us is happiness. Now, people could say, well, that's really not true. My ultimate goal is love. My ultimate goal is health. My ultimate goal is to become wealthy. My ultimate goal is all these different things. But the bottom line, ultimate goal is we want certain things because they make us happy. So, having understood that, now we need to, in this class, develop characters. And we're made to understand that for each and every character, and again, I would think that this is true for each and every one of us here, and outside of here, but all of us here on planet Earth, that we have all of us, a desire. What is our desire? Now, the ultimate desire is happiness, but we have desires. They may be goals, but we have desires to, let's say, accomplish things, to have things come to fruition. It might be, I want to be, well, this is absurd, but I want to be the best playwright in the world, or I want to be the strongest person, or I want this, or I want that. And then, so that is our desire, whatever the desire is that you might be aware of for yourself or people that we know, what are their desires? Then we go from this person, this character's desire about what they want. Then we go to, well, what are the obstacles to those desires? What gets in the way of getting what we want? And what I've been discussing in class is that there are two kind of obstacles. There's the internal, inside of us. For example, maybe we want to ask for a raise at work. That's our desire, but we have a fear of, being reprimanded, of losing a job. We just have a concern about doing that. And that could be our obstacle to getting an increase, to increasing and contributing to our desires. So there's an internal obstacle, but more visibly, there are external obstacles. Typically, that could be people. Someone else maybe wants what you want, or for whatever reason, they don't want you to get what you want. There may be a conflict involved that ensues with external obstacles. And then finally, with these characters that we're trying to develop in our stories, but again, I still believe that there's a connection to real life. What's the outcome? Does this character, do they succeed in getting what they want? What methods do they use? What do they decide to do? Whether it is, let's say, noble, let's say it is a little bit underhanded. What do they do? Or maybe they don't. They don't get what they want. And what then? And I started thinking about, these characters that I'm trying to create and making them what we call more rounded versus flat, and how they interact, these different people. And it got me to start thinking about different people in my life. Certain people that there has been conflict with for me in my life. And I started thinking, so wait a second, what is something that I want? What's my desire? And perhaps my desire for something might get in the way of their desire. It might bring up a sense of anger in the other person if I pursue something, or vice versa. It might create envy. It might create competition. And I know here in the States and other countries, we say competition is always good. That's what, builds up the best for everyone. But sometimes competition can be very devastating. And then what? What do I do when someone is in my way? What do I do when someone claims I'm in their way and there's a conflict? Well, I can tell you for myself that sometimes I can react. I can react in a very defensive way because I feel I'm doing something that is just what I want to do. It's not intended to be hurtful whatsoever. And maybe they just have to get over it. And I just have to do my thing. And I'm going to support myself and so on and so forth in that goal, in that desire, in trying to come to fruition for that wish. But I started thinking a little bit more. And I started thinking that I have my desires. We all do, but so does this other person. So does this other person who might want something and maybe does something even a bit underhanded, what I feel might be against me, that was not merited, that was not deserved, and certainly not wanted. And maybe I have a choice here. Maybe we all have a choice. I can absolutely respond and become, let's say, annoyed or angry or defensive or frightened. I can do all of that, and I have done all of that. But I think that there are other options out there because I do think with the understanding that we're people, that we're human beings. Yes, we're spiritual beings, but here on earth, we are human beings with spiritual influence, with our spirit inside of us. But sometimes I do think that even in the moment, we connect more with being a perfect, and a person and an imperfect person than a beautiful spiritual being that we all are. It kind of can, I think being a human being is right in front of our faces. And we go that route. And I think for myself and anyone here, and outside of here, maybe we could, when we find ourselves in a situation where I think some people will refer to it as, let's say, a scarcity mentality, simply meaning that, we all want the same, for lack of better, we all want the same job or the same friendship with an individual. We all want the same thing. So it's like we have to fight our hardest to get it because it's just very limited. And the truth is that things are not limited. It's not, things aren't scarce. There is an abundance that we may not be as much in touch with, but an abundance. And for myself, and I'm thinking and maybe offering for each and every one of us, maybe when we find ourselves in a situation when it feels that someone has been unfair in our regard or even cruel in our regard. Now, I want to be careful with this. I don't want to imply that if someone is being abused in any way, that they should just kind of take it. I am not proposing that. But what I am proposing is that, in some of these everyday occurrences that aren't hugely abusive, but maybe are just kind of gnawing at us, maybe we have options. And I started thinking, so how do we get to these options? What are these options? And I think an option maybe is, first of all, understanding and then remembering that we all have desires. We all do. Even this person who's a pain in the neck opposite you, they have their desires. And maybe those desires are as justified as our desires. So if we can just take a breath before that response back, a breath, just a breath in, a breath to calm ourselves, to give ourselves a moment rather than have a reflex response, to have a moment of not liking, not having to like what was done, but maybe just having a greater understanding of maybe where this, excuse me, this person is coming from. Maybe understanding that part of their response is built upon insecurity or feeling less than or whatever it is, just understanding that. So we don't have to get necessarily dragged into what I call their spider web, that sticky stuff. To be true to ourselves, and no matter what anyone proposes, suggests, thinks about us, to have a really good sense of who we are, you are, I am, and not be led astray off our path. And take that breath, Maintain your sense of self and almost observe in a third person where this other person, why they might be doing what they're doing. We don't have to be psychiatrists here, but it's for their benefit, but also for our own benefit. The breath is one way to change the direction of things, our response. I'd like to also offer another possibility. And I know I've heard about this for years. I received this email right around January 1st. So it was all about, how we want to have New Year's resolutions. And it's actually an excellent video. It's 7 minutes long, and it's all about how to bring about our happiness. And I'm going to just share the first one with you. There were three suggestions that were made, and each of these three, when you put together, takes about 2 minutes of your time to do. But the first one was simply this, and bear with me if it sounds absurd, just bear with me. It is whether you're happy, neutral, or angry. Oh, sorry about that. Whether you're happy, neutral, or angry, smile. And smile with when I first did this and I smiled and I looked in the mirror and I wasn't genuinely feeling the smile, but I did it. I looked like I saw a ghost. It was like, but smile in a way that is authentic, that, they even instruct you, you could kind of raise your eyebrows a little bit and have this smile. You don't have to feel it, but go into the smile for 15 seconds. That's all it takes. And the movement of the muscles in your face will communicate to your brain that you are safe. And I've been doing this every morning since I found this. And I will tell you, maybe it's just, whatever, influential, but I do this and I do feel an uplift. I do feel a separation from what might be annoying me. And you could do it. I do it even twice a day. So having a breath, that's inexpensive. That's pretty quick. Having a smile, also pretty quick. And by the way, I'm not proposing you give this smile to the person who's annoying you. This is something that you can do just as part, like you brush your teeth, just smile. And you can get your face and that and that look with the smile and all. And I do feel it can be helpful. Finally, and probably the most important to support us, is to connect with the spirit world. Now, we are part of the spirit world. We're a member of the spirit world. Take a moment when you are feeling in any way down and out, upside down, disappointed, frustrated, even happy, whatever you're feeling, but especially when you're feeling maybe alone and on your own, take your time and connect with your inner spirit slowly. Connect with the spirit of the divine. Let it emphasize the beauty and power of your own spirit. And connect with the spirit of your spirit team, who are there to completely support you for your highest good in wherever it is needed. So, storms we go through, inevitable. It happens. And it will continue to happen. But having choices that allow us to build bridges, maybe to that individual, or maybe bridge just to our happiness. That's the focus of today's talk from the spirit world. And I hope in some way that it has been or will be helpful to all of you. And I thank you for your time and your attention.